Uh-oh. Something's wrong.
What happened?
It says the configured file output path is invalid. Please check your settings to confirm a valid path.
Are you sure? Because it also says we have excellent connection.
It also
It's
says
not recording, though.
Oh, no, it's not recording.
Crap.
Shoot. Hello, everybody,
and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering Jubilees, chapters 37 through 39. Oh boy, am I glad nobody watches this show.
Oh, man. Yeah, that would be embarrassing.
Yeah, so this one's not going to get recorded if I don't start over.
We don't have to record it. That's fine.
No, we do tend to record these for.
But we don't have to because we can just download the episode.
Yeah, we literally
that will
can.
Potentially not always be the case. Let us take.
But we literally.
precautions.
We
can
will
do
literally do that.
at this point in time right now.
Won't be the same quality.
It'll be fine.
You say so. Go ahead. I didn't even say welcome because I'm trying to figure out how to fix our problem.
Okay,
You
well,
usually don't welcome everybody at the
No.
beginning.
no,
Usually
with the
I do
thing on the
things.
screen,
Yeah.
like where it says welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, he usually does say that.
Yeah, but he doesn't say it.
No,
I said
he doesn't
didn't
have to say
even
it.
say welcome because I'm trying to fix this and I can't because it says can't do it while you're live streaming.
Oh, what a well-designed.
Is it the
system.
recording problem that you can't
I
fix?
can't even attempt to tell it to go somewhere else.
Okay, but
It's-
as long as we're streaming, it's okay. As long as you can still do all the stream stuff.
I guess. I don't know. I prefer to record all of these. That's just my thing. But all right, go ahead.
Yeah. So today we're continuing Jubilees. That's what we're doing.
Yes, that is what we are
In spite of the slight technical issues, we are going to do that. We're going to continue the book because
Yes,
we are approaching the end.
Yep.
It's not going to be until, about a month from now, I'm guessing. A little less than a month.
Man, well,
Will we finish this by New Year's?
There's 50 chapters. Next time we'll probably be at 40 or 41. So, yeah, there's like 4 more after this.
Around,
So,
yeah. Maybe 3.
Yeah.
So we'll
maybe.
have
Could
it'll be okay by the end of the year, I think. I think we'll be done by then.
Yeah.
Maybe we can finish it on New Year's or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are we doing for New Year's? Because usually we have like some New Year's-y thing that we do.
We don't have to do anything for New Year's.
I know, but like we could. We could also not.
We could.
I guess it really doesn't matter.
We didn't
It
do
depends
a
what
Thanksgiving special either.
that's true. And we did do that the other year.
I guess this can be our Thanksgiving special.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Hello, everybody, and welcome
to
the
our Thanksgiving special.
This is
Ironically, I just fixed it and it's recording now.
wow.
Okay.
Except it wasn't recording before. So
No, but that was welcome. That was your real
Yes.
welcome.
All right.
Incredible.
That's fine.
welcome to the Thanksgiving special. Can we get the screen up here so that we can see the
Yeah.
I told you I was working on it. I got
Yeah,
it.
you can do whatever. All right. So how about we hop into this, shall we?
All right, let's do it to it. Hostilities are breaking out between Esau and Jacob. This is chapter 37, coming right at you.
Well, what are you reading from?
I'm reading from the James C. Vanderkam Hermenia translation of Jubilees.
I actually also have that translation of Jubilees, but I also have it with commentary.
That's incredible.
It is.
I've
I
never
thought
heard
so.
something so amazing in my entire life.
Quality content.
Yep. Anyways, let's hop into it then, unless you want to talk a bunch about what we're about to read.
So for verses 1 through 8, so both the Ethiopic and Latin translations place the conversation between Esau and his sons, verses 1 through 8. Quote, on that day, or hold on, is this just the? No, that's not the quotation of the verses. So yeah, on the day that Isaac, the father of Jacob and Esau, died. So
Yeah,
when
that's how the thing starts.
I get that, but it's I was just making sure they weren't quoting the entire passage.
Wonderful. Why would they?
I don't know, man. The Syriac citation merely summarizes with after Isaac's death.
Okay, so that makes sense. On the day that Isaac, the father of Jacob and Esau, died, Esau's sons heard that Isaac had given the birthright to his younger son, Jacob. They became very angry.
Good.
Yep. They quarreled with their father. Why is it that when you were the older and Jacob the younger, your father gave Jacob the birthright and deposed you?
Good question.
Yeah. He said to them, because I gave the right of the firstborn to Jacob in exchange for a little lentil broth. The day my father sent me to hunt game so that he could eat it and bless me, he came in a crafty way and brought in food and drink to my father. My father blessed him and put me under his control. Now our father has made us, me and him, swear that we will not seek harm, the one against his brother, and that we will continue in a state of mutual love and peace, each with his brother, so that we should not corrupt our behavior.
I mean, that is what happened.
It's still...
But it's also, why would you do that?
Yeah, aren't
Like,
your
your sons
sons already corrupt?
aren't what?
Isn't the nature of their brotherhood already corrupt?
Well, it was, yeah, but then it was okay because apparently, Rebecca, or was it Rebecca?
Could be Rebecca.
It was
I
Rebecca.
forget already.
It's
Yeah.
Rebecca.
Yeah, it
But
was
either
terrible.
way, the mother very
Yes.
she just said, "Hey, love your brother. Don't be a dick."
Yep.
And then he was like, "Okay," even though Jacob was the dick.
Okay.
Whatever.
They said to him, we will not listen to you by making peace with him, because our strength is greater than his strength, and we are stronger than he is. You see, they're obviously less morally capable, even than Esau, because of their Canaanite heritage. Right?
Of course.
These, of course, because Esau only married Canaanite women.
That was a big issue.
Yep. His children would be tainted by that evil Canaanite blood.
Yeah, which would later, it was meant to represent the Edomites.
Yeah. Real racially diverse.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
And accepting society. Right. Okay. We will go against him, kill him, and destroy his sons. If you do not go with us, we will harm you too. Now,
Oh,
yeah, listen to us. Let us send Aram, Philistia.
maybe they are shitty kids.
Yeah, they are. Let us send to Aram, Philistia, Moab, and Ammon, and let us choose for ourselves select men who are brave in battle. Then let us go against him and make war with him and uproot him from the earth before he gains strength. Their father said to them, do not go and do not make war with him, so that you may not fall before him. They said to him, is this not the very way you have acted from your youth until today? You are putting your neck beneath his yoke. We will not listen to what you are saying.
So the subsequent exchange, the one that you're in right now,
Yeah.
between Esau and his 4 sons is enlightening. Esau shows, just as he did when speaking with his mother and his father in chapters 35 and 36, that he heard what his parents had said and understood the situation. He had agreed to love Jacob and desire only good things for him, and he had acknowledged Jacob's superiority to him and affirmed that the birthright belonged to his younger brother. But he had also heard the weighty curse Isaac had pronounced on the one who desired injury for his brother. If one of you desires harm for his brother, and it just went on like that. That curse, like don't hurt him. It's gonna be a curse.
Yeah. And these nations, Aram, Philistia, Moab, and Ammon, are obviously relevant later on in the Bible.
Yeah. Once we get through verse 10, I'm gonna have some commentary about that.
All right. Well, I'm on verse 9 now.
Okay. Yeah. Once you're through verse 10.
Okay. Why don't I just read through verse 10 then? So they sent to Aram, and to their father's friend Aduram. Together with them, they hired for themselves 1,000 fighting men, select warriors. There came to them from Moab and from the Ammonites 1,000 select men who were hired. From the Philistines, 1,000 select warriors. From Edom and the Horites, 1,000 select warriors. And from the Kittim, strong warriors. And this Ethiopic form could also be interpreted as Hittites instead of Kittim.
Are you tired of those stupid weak warriors? Why don't you get some select warriors?
Are these like the mighty
Limited
men?
edition Ammonites.
We've been over the Kittim before. I think they popped up a couple times in our readings.
And these are like the mighty men of the Kittim, right?
So
strong warriors.
without their father's consent, Esau's sons set their plan in motion and recruit an army from the neighboring nations. The sons proposed in verse 6 that they hire troops from 4 of the surrounding countries. So we have Aram, Philistia, Moab, and Ammon. They now carry out their scheme by sending messages to these people, although the lists in verses 9 through 10 and chapter 38 are a little different from the one in verse 6. So, verse 6 we have Aram, Philistia, Moab, and Ammon. In verses 9 through 10, we have, Aram and Aduram, then Moab and Ammon, and then the Philistines, and then Edom and the Horites, and then the mentioning the Kittim, of course. And then Jubilees 38 lists Aduram, the Aramean, Moab and Ammon, Philistines, and Edom and Horites. So even then, just a little bit different as well.
But they don't have the Kittim or the Hittites?
They are not mentioning. They have Horites.
Mm. Horites are already in the list, though. So.
Oh yeah. We do. Yeah, not Hittites are not there.
Mm-hmm.
So several questions arise from the lists, and neither Testament of Judah 9 or Midrash Waisau, something like that. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Offers much assistance in clarifying them. Aduram, who is said to be Esau's friend in 37:9, is identified as an Aramean in 38:3. He plays no role in the Testament of Judah 9, but in the Midrash, line 15, he is the first one Jacob kills with an arrow. The Midrash probably reads a mistaken form of the Gentilic, while Jubilees preserves his correct affiliation with the Arameans, whom he seems to represent. In 38:3. Aduram is a biblical name, referencing 2 Samuel here, but the person with the scriptural name is not said to be an Aramean. Aduram also resembles the name of a city near Hebron. That would make sense because I think last week we were talking about some of the cities and their representations by certain kings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was relevant while they were at war.
Yeah, absolutely. So continuing on here.
But you think of a situation like this, and this would be like if Donald Trump's kids, against his will, after he lost the election, wrote to the president of Mexico and Justin Trudeau and a whole bunch of other leaders to send in warriors, soldiers.
Yeah.
Well, that happened more often than you would think throughout, most nation states. They'd be like, hey, you're kind of the king or the king of the king or whatever. But at the same time, you got deposed. So, they might just put you back in power if you got another army from your friend.
I mean, yeah.
You're supposed to be friends with all the other kings, or they'd probably just kill you.
Yeah.
That's usually how that works.
But
at least acquaintances. And you might be like, yo, dude, I'll pay you a lot back in my coffers if you help me get my coffers back.
They don't even have to be. The thing is, it depends on who's more powerful.
Right.
And here the story is really lacking because they don't establish that Esau or Esau's children are well known or liked by these groups of people.
Right.
So it just seems like it's out of nowhere that they're like, well, these people generally don't like them, so let's write to them, I guess.
Yeah, take a shot, I guess.
Yeah.
So a surprising entry in the list is the Kittim, who appear only in 3710. Inclusion of them is peculiar, not only because they figure in none of the other lists, but also because there is no indication that they supplied 1,000 troops as all the others did. Only manuscript 20 adds the number. The number of 4,000 soldiers in the mercenary army is mentioned in 3714 and probably in Midrash Weisa, line 6.
Yeah, David personally killed more people than all of these countries could even get together.
That's true. Since the total for the mercenaries from the other four groups is 4,000, there would be no place for more armed men from the Kittim. In the absence of other textual evidence for Jubilees 3710, the Ethiopic reading cannot be verified or excluded, but it does seem strange.
Well, they don't give a number for the Kittim warriors.
They don't. Well,
So-
not in the translation. Of course, there was one manuscript who did.
Was
which,
it another 1,000?
Well, the reading was 40,000, but it's likely a mistake for 4,000.
Okay. Well, either way, they've got some warriors now.
Select warriors.
Yep.
Yep.
They said to their father, "Go out, lead them, otherwise we will kill you." He was filled with anger and wrath when he saw that his sons were forcing him to go in front to order to lead them to his brother Jacob. But he remembered all the bad things that were hidden in his mind against his brother Jacob, and did not remember the oath that he had sworn to his father and mother not to seek harm against Jacob throughout his entire lifetime. He just
did. He
Aw,
just
man.
remembered.
Whoops.
Now, of course, maybe he's not thinking about that at the particular moment,
yeah.
but
Well, he's like power hungry, right? They show him all these armies, and they're like, he's like, oh man, I really don't want to lead these armies. But then again,
then again.
it's better than being subservient to another.
So to
person.
my four sons.
Either way, so Esau's really screwed here because
Rock and hard place.
if he doesn't do anything, his sons are gonna kill him.
Yeah.
And if he does something, then he's breaking his promise, and also
That
probably
curse.
that curse
Yeah.
is going to hit him.
Oh man, that's like a rock in a
And-
hard place. It's just gonna leave
I
space
mean,
there.
I'd be more inclusive of all of Mesopotamia personally.
Well, can't we all just get along? Wow. Classic.
During all this time, Jacob was unaware that they were coming to him for battle. He, for his part, was mourning for his wife until they approached him near the tower with 4,000 warriors. The people of Hebron sent word to him, "Your brother has just now come against you to fight with 4,000 men who have swords buckled on and are carrying shields and weapons." They told him because they loved Jacob more than Esau, since Jacob was a more generous and kind man than Esau. But Jacob did not believe it until they came near the tower. Then he closed the gates of the tower, stood on top, and spoke with his brother Esau. He said,
What do you say?
"It is a fine consolation that you have come to give me for my wife who has died. Is this the oath that you swore to your father and your mother twice before he died?"
So he's being sarcastic.
Yep. "You have violated the oath and were condemned in the hour when you swore it to your father." Then Esau said in reply to him, "Neither humankind nor serpents have a true oath that they, once they have sworn it is valid forever. Every day they desire harm for one another,
Oh,
how
wow.
to kill his enemy and opponent. You hate me and my sons forever. There is no observing of brotherly ties with you. Listen to what I have to say to you. If a pig changes its hide and makes its hair limp like wool, and horns like the horns of a ram and sheep go out in its head, then I will observe brotherly ties with you. The breasts have been separated from their mother, for you have not been a brother to me. If wolves make peace with lambs so that they do not eat them or injure them, and if they have resolved to treat them well, then there will be peace in my mind for you. If a lion becomes the friend of a bull and a confidant, and if it is harnessed together with it in a yoke and plows as one yoke, then I will make peace with you. If the ravens turn white like a pelican, then know that I love you and will make peace with you. As for you, be uprooted, and your children are being uprooted. There is to be no peace for you. That was like an anime villain speech.
Yeah, definitely was.
When did Darth Maul enter stage left? Man,
Yeah,
that's
holy shit. Like,
so-
he went from like one paragraph back being like, no, I can't do that. You know, I made a promise. I promised my mom, guys.
And it's not like
it's
he's-
our true nature. We must
Yeah.
destroy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Only
He's like,
exceptions would
there
be.
is no such thing as a promise between men because everyone wants to kill each other at all times.
Like, damn.
and
shit.
it's not even he's not even like doing this begrudgingly now. He's
No.
he's very much enjoying it, which makes sense considering how much of a dick Jacob was. But like also, what are we supposed to think of Esau here?
He joined the dark side. He's like a Sith Lord.
He didn't just join it; he like flipped and
Yeah.
became the leader.
This is
And now he's in charge of the dark side. What happened?
He's what's his name?
Palpatine.
Palpatine. I was gonna say Constantine, but I knew it wasn't
Yeah.
Constantine.
no.
You see, he is based off of that guy, though. Totally.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen Constantine? The movie?
No.
Ah, it's good.
Nothing to do with.
It's bad,
Constantine
but
or-
it's good. It's nuts. Okay,
so some of these metaphors. So
yeah, obviously the uprooting. These are like
no, some of the stuff.
when a pig flies, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when a pig suddenly becomes a ram, right?
Mhm.
Or when wolves and lambs are living in harmony,
Yeah.
and lions and bulls are working together as field animals.
Yeah, if the raven turns white
Yeah.
like a pelican,
Yeah, like like a white
because that's
swan.
the first white bird that comes to mind in the
Yeah.
Middle East. Apparently, would not have thought that.
crazy. When Jacob saw that he was adversely inclined towards him from his mind and his entire self so that he could kill him, and that he was coming and bounding along like a boar that comes upon the spear that pierces it and kills it but does not pull back from it, then he told his sons and his servants to attack him and his companions. That's the end of chapter 37. If you're enjoying the stream so far, give us a like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, family, neighbors. You know, don't spam them, but do share it every week.
Make sure they know it exists.
If you've ever encountered someone, tell them that this exists. You don't have to be like insistent. You just have to let them acknowledge that this is something that's out there.
You know, I was.
If you're selling your kidneys on the black market, be sure to let the other party know about our stream.
that's a really good idea.
Wow.
Okay.
How?
Do it. Speaking of getting the word out, I was at dinner a few nights ago, and I was talking about the Bible as I do when I'm with friends.
Crazy.
I forget what it. Maybe it was just about biblical history, something like that.
You're such a nuanced person.
Anyways, so I don't just have the one personality trait. What are you talking about? So that's what we were talking about, and there was a security guard who I guess was eavesdropping, and he asked me if I was going to be like a pastor or something, and I was like, I am not going to be a pastor. No, got no plans on that.
Wow.
So because like I guess he overheard that, not only discussion but the fact that I was in school for religious studies, and then I wanted to potentially pursue like a PhD in biblical studies or something like that.
And
I
he
thought you were
thought
pursuing
that
God.
You were so cool.
He was like, this guy's gonna be a pastor. He was like a Lutheran or something. He said, yeah. I was like, no, sorry to disappoint you. That's not gonna happen.
Did you shill the channel?
I did. I gave him our card, our out of date card.
Is it the misspelled one? Or?
No. It's the actual
Okay.
the properly spelled
Okay.
one.
Ones we got for free, my bad.
Yeah.
Not misspelled, but either way, you know what isn't misspelled? Stuff in this commentary, which
Yeah.
I will give to Ruben
Why don't you do that?
while I get this translation from you.
All right. Well, why don't you take that there translation there, and we'll really get to going on this here Milwaukee Atheist channel.
Boy, yeah. Why don't we
I'm
just
I'm
have
excited. Oh.
the most Wisconsin accent possible?
Yeah.
After this, Judah spoke to his father.
Spoke to his father.
You can't even do what's supposed to be done. How can you not do this?
Judah spoke to his father.
After this, Judah spoke to his father Jacob and said to him, "Draw your bow, father. Shoot your arrow. Strike the enemy and kill the foe. May you have the strength, because we will not kill your brother, since he is your brother, and he is similar to you. And in our estimation, he is like you in honor." Wait, hold on.
Estimation?
So, so Judah's one of Esau's sons. One of Jacob's sons.
Yes.
And okay, so he's showing some respect here for Esau, I suppose, which is good, but also not really what you would expect considering the history between these two gents.
No, it's not what you would expect at all. Also,
Yeah, we've had some really big plot twists, except they were more just like regular twists.
They were just regular twists.
well, it's a parallel with Esau's sons. So unlike the sons of Esau, who showed no respect for their father or for Jacob, Judah is much concerned with the dignity possessed by Esau as his father's brother. No matter how appalling Esau's behavior had been, he was still Jacob's brother and had to be treated with the proper deference.
Which, so it means they can't kill him. They can't kill Esau.
But one of their slaves can.
Well, the thing is, they're telling Jacob to do it, or Judah is telling Jacob to do it.
So 4Q 223 through 224, Unit 2, 4:15 through 17. That's a mouthful. Preserves enough of the text to show that the wording in the Ethiopic version is more reliable than the rather different presentation in the Syriac citation. The Syriac, which contains most of what the Ethiopic copies read, offers parts of the verse in different order and adds to it at the end. It reads, "Judah said to his father Jacob, 'We are not able to draw the sword before your brother, since in our estimation he is equal to you. Draw your bow, slay your enemy, and kill your foe, because he is your brother. Leave the rest of the warriors to us. Do not ask any more questions.'"
Yeah, so like you deal with your own personal drama.
But the shorter version is in the Ethiopic and Hebrew text. And it also, the version that's in the Ethiopic and Hebrew doesn't mention them killing all of the other warriors. Well, he just kills one of them.
Jacob then stretched his bow, shot an arrow, and struck his brother Esau on his right breast and killed him. He shot a second arrow and hit Aduran, the Aramean, on his left breast. He drove him back and killed him. After this, Jacob's sons, they and their servants, went out, dividing themselves to the four sides of the tower. Judah went out first. Naphtali and Gad were with him.
So the perhaps Adoram was also a leader of invading forces. 37:9 may imply he headed the Arameans among them, or perhaps as a friend of Esau, he also deserved the particular privilege of dying at the hands of Jacob.
The privilege.
Yeah, with the two arrows, Jacob symmetrically and efficiently deprived the enemy of two senior leaders. So, there you go.
It's 2 arrows for 2 kills. It's not as efficient as it could be.
Not as efficient,
Come on.
but it gets the job done, I suppose.
Yeah.
Judah went out first. Naphtali and Gad were with him, and 50 servants were with them on the south side of the tower. They killed everyone whom they found in front of them. No one at all escaped from them.
Oof.
That's crazy. Levi, Dan, and Asher went out on the east side of the tower, and 50 were with them. They killed the Moabite and Ammonite bands. Reuben, Issachar, and Zebulun went out on the north side of the tower, and their 50 with them. They too killed the Philistine fighting men. So, yeah, every side is getting a whole bunch of people.
Once you get through verse 8, I'll have commentary.
Okay. Simeon, Benjamin, and Enoch, Reuben's son, went out on the west side of the tower, and their 50 with them. Of the people of Edom and the Horites, they killed 400 strong warriors, and 600 ran away. Esau's 4 sons ran away with them. They left their slain father thrown on the hill that is in Adoraim. And that's the end of verse 8.
So the arrangement of the 12 is worth noting. The 2 major sons of Jacob, with the recipient of Isaac's blessings in 31:13 through 20, command the first 2 trios, with sons from each of Jacob's 2 concubines as the other 2 members. Judah would naturally be the lead officer in a battle, so he heads the first group. Only after the lines about Judah and Levi does Reuben, the firstborn brother, figure as the initial name in the third group of the 3, and the 2 brothers with him are also sons of Leah, the 2 youngest. Simeon, the second oldest after Reuben, is the first in the 4th group, and the other 2 are Rachel's son, Benjamin, Joseph was not available, and Enoch. Reuben's firstborn, see Genesis 46:9, Jubilees 44:12, presumably the next oldest male in the family after the 12 sons of Jacob. The fact that 50 servants accompany each of the 4 groups of 3 agrees with the notice in Midrash Wayisaus 10 that Wayyissa apostrophe U.
Yeah.
That the servants with Jacob and his sons numbered 200. Mention of Esau's 4 sons in verse 8 furnishes another opportunity to put them in a bad light. These men, who had instigated the war, continued to dishonor their father by leaving his body where he had fallen on the hill Adoraim.
You got to be properly buried to be honored.
Yeah. Of course, the occasion was hardly optimal for burying him since they were running for their lives. But once again, they thought only of themselves in abandoning Esau.
I've been trying to say shout out to Enoch.
Yeah.
Enoch got brought up, and I'm like, you guys are still going with commentary and reading, but I want to say shout out to Enoch because he was there. So it was.
So it's a different Enoch, but okay.
It's a shout out.
Yes. The version in Jubilees is the only one to attribute the act of killing Esau to Jacob after honoring the slain body of his brother. As the reader might expect, it was Jacob who honored his brother by burying his corpse. Right. So this is only in Jubilees.
Okay.
After honoring the slain body of his brother, he returned to the tower while his sons pressed the attack on the 600 who fled. So, yeah, that's some commentary on it. There's other sub-commentary on individual points, but that's the gist of it.
Okay. All right, verse 9 here. Jacob's sons pursued them as far as Mount Seir. That's really far, actually. While Jacob buried his brother on the hill that is in Adoraim, and then returned to the tower. Jacob's sons besieged Esau's sons in Mount Seir. They bowed their neck to become servants for Jacob's sons. They sent to their father to ask whether they should make peace with them or kill them. Jacob sent word to his sons to make peace. So they made peace with them and placed the yoke of servitude on them so that they should pay tribute to Jacob and his sons for all time.
So the vocabulary there with them bending their necks to servitude recalls the words of Isaac to Esau when he pleaded for a blessing. Quote, "You will live by your sword and will serve your brother. May it be that if you become great and remove his yoke from your neck, then you will commit an offense fully worthy of death, and your descendants will be eradicated from beneath the sky." End quote. Chapter 26, verse 34.
And that's how he gets rid of his sons. Wow, he hated those guys.
They continued paying tribute to Jacob until the day he went down to Egypt. The Edomites have not extricated themselves from the yoke of servitude that Jacob's sons imposed on them until today.
So, the expression "until today" in verse 14 and 15 raises problems.
I'm sure it does, as is tradition.
Yes. One is trying to determine the time meant by today. In the narrative world of the book, today should designate the time when the angel is speaking to Moses on Mount Sinai. Elsewhere in the book, there are similar usages indicating until today means until the time of the speaker. And there's a huge list of it, but I'm not going to read those. In all of the cases, it is either the character in the text, Abraham, Jacob, Rebekah, or the angel, who speaks about a literal day, the very day on which the person is speaking. The only exception may be 45, verse 12, which is also the only instance in which the expression comes from Genesis. If one infers, therefore, that until today in 38:14 through 15 means until the time when the angel is speaking to Moses on Mount Sinai, another problem results. Is the text saying that the Edomites remained under the yoke of servitude to Jacob's family until the Sinai revelation, and that the monarchs listed are those who reigned in Edom before the same date?
That sounds like it could be.
That's a reasonable inference, but what would it mean for the Edomites to be subject to Jacob's family even during the long stay in Egypt?
Right.
Possibly the writer intends to say that while they no longer paid tribute and had no contact for a long time, they still in fact were subject to the descendants of Jacob. It is also possible that he thought that the kings reigned in Edom at the very early period, because he reproduces the notice from Genesis that they reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the Israelites, literally before the ruling of a king for the sons of Israel, Genesis 36:31.
Yeah, we have that whole list of kings.
Yeah.
I think it was Genesis 36, yeah.
Was it not written in the book?
And the whole thing is
Kings?
So there's just a little more here. Readers have interpreted these words in two senses. The line in Genesis says they reigned before there was an Israelite monarchy, or they reigned before an Israelite king ruled in Edom. The writer of Jubilees may have read the temporal note as pointing to pre-monarchical times in Israel. In fact, he may have thought that the pre-Sinai period was under consideration. The list names 8 kings, and he may have understood the first as becoming king right after the war. There's no indication of the lengths of these reigns, so that all of them could belong in time from Jacob to Moses, 4 generations, Exodus 6:16 through 60. not 60, 16 through 20, rather. All of this is only a suggestion, but one consistent with usage in the book. Also, the accounts of the war's conclusion in the Testament of Judah 9 and in Midrash Vayasau,
however you say it.
Yeah, bears some resemblance to the one in Jubilees. Testament of Judah 9, 7 through 8 reports, then they asked from us terms of peace, and having taken counsel with our father, we received them as tributaries, and they gave us 200 cores of wheat, 500 baths of oil, 1,500 measures of wine, until we went down to Egypt. In Midrash Wasaya'au, once Jacob's sons had surrounded Esau's sons in Mount Seir, Esau's sons and all those men who had fled went out and fell before Jacob's sons and were slaughtered before them. They implored them for mercy until they made peace with them and subjected them to tribute of servitude. Neither of these accounts adds the notice about subjection, quote, until today.
Yeah,
quote.
so I guess the author, I would say, probably did not like any descendants of Edomites.
Right. Probably.
And he's going into this here, the next section, the kings who ruled in Edom.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe we'll see what he really thinks. Let's find out. These are the kings who ruled in Edom before a king ruled the Israelites. So yeah, he's thinking of pre-monarchic times. That's what it sounds like. Until today in the land of Edom. Or I guess I guess it would be because if you have the angel talking to Moses, who I guess has just now revealed that there will be kings in Israel.
What? That's crazy. No way.
Yeah.
Just by saying that.
There's a list of 8 Edomite kings from Genesis 36, 31 through 39.
Okay, did you want me to read over them first or next?
Let me just remark on this that
Okay.
Jubilees 38:23 will remark about Hadad or Hadar.
Okay.
It's Hadad in 1 Chronicles 150 and in some versions of Genesis 36:39. The unusual feature in his entry is that the names of his wife and her ancestors appear. This Hadad could be one who was reigning when David stationed garrisons in Edom. In 2 Samuel 8:13 through 14, when the monarchy would have ended. Now that the adversary of Solomon in Edom is named Hadad, according to 1 Kings 11:14. So this is going to be just really recreation of the list from Genesis 36, 31 through 39. That's the only really noteworthy thing that I'm seeing that I can bring up until basically the end of the chapter.
All right. So I guess let's hop into a list.
Yes.
My favorite part of biblical literature and apocryphal literature is lists.
Now that's canon. Lawrence canon, but that's canon.
So, yeah, until today in the land of Edom. So let's start off with these kings here. Balak, son of Beor, became king in Edom. The name of his city was Danaba. After Balak died, Yobab, son of Zara, who was from Bosir, became king in his place. After Yobab died, Assam, who was from Mount Timon, became king in his place. After Assam died, Adat, son of Bared, who slaughtered Midian in the field of Moab, became king in his place. The name of his city was Awutu. After Adat died, Solomon, and it's spelled differently, Solomon, who was from Emesca, became king in his place. After Solomon died, Saul, who was from the river Rabot, became king in his place.
So about these place names,
Yeah.
So the place names are of unknown locations other than Bosra and Timon, which show up.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a bummer.
Yeah.
After Saul died, Beleunan, son of Akbor, became king in his place. After Beleunan, son of Akbor, died, Adad became king in his place. So another guy that's named Adad.
Mm-hmm. And that would be, like I said.
Yeah, the one we discussed before.
Yeah.
His wife's name was Metabit, daughter of Matrit, daughter of Metabedazab.
Yeah, so like
What
I
a
said,
name.
this would be Hadad in 1 Chronicles 50 and Genesis 36:39.
These are the kings who ruled in the land of Edom. And that's the end of the chapter.
Yeah, not too much to say about it. The author makes it more evident than Genesis that no son of Esau became king in Edom. His sons survived the battle with Jacob and his forces, but only through Jacob's mercy. No one of the 8 kings listed is among the sons or grandsons of Esau in Genesis 36, 1 through 14. The point may have been
That's what you get, Esau.
Yeah. The point may have been important to the author of Jubilees because of some earlier promises in the book. The Lord had said to Jacob that kings would come from his line. Earlier, he had told Abraham that the son born to Sarah and him would become a nation, and kings of nations would arise from him.
That, and also that he would rule over his brother.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, Isaac had spoken of the throne that Jacob's son Judah would occupy. The only kings to arise in Isaac's family line were therefore to be traced to Jacob, not to his older but unworthy brother Esau. No sons of Esau became kings, and his line plays no further role in the story either in Genesis or Jubilees. Now the narrator can turn to development in the family of Jacob, the heir to all of the promises.
Yes, of course. Now
Jacob gets all of the promises, all the promises.
You know, Jacob's going to lead quite a life.
Yes.
At least according to Genesis.
Yeah, and if you're
Do you
enjoying
promise?
the stream so far, maybe consider donating to our 666 donation drive, where once we hit $666, we will be getting a thetan meter, and we will be seeing who the most clear is, and we'll be, talking about Scientology.
And you should drop a like and subscribe if you haven't, because that stuff does help us out. Or a dislike if you don't like what we do. That's cool as well. So either way, it all helps us out.
Yeah, we don't like it either.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into this final chapter of the day. Chapter 39.
39, absolutely. We can count.
Yeah.
So now we're getting into, all the good old Jacob stuff.
Yep, and this is slightly shorter than the other chapters.
Yeah.
So, the humble beginnings of Joseph's career in Egypt. That's the name of this section.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't really call it, humble beginnings.
Well, it is, but that's a really
and would you really call
fluffy way of putting it.
Would you call it a career?
You could call it a career.
Is enslavement a career?
Well, becoming
Look,
like
it
Pharaoh's
starts
a
bad,
career.
but that's how you get a series of fortunate events. You have to start bad, and then it just gets better.
That's
great.
Is that what happened in the books?
I think so.
That's
It's a series of fortunate events.
It just continually gets worse.
Oh, really? Uh-oh.
Okay, so there's a lot of footnotes about 4Q 221 and 4Q 223 through 224.
Okay.
So
I can probably add some stuff for.
yeah,
that
I'll
when we
bring
get
them
to it.
up when I run into them.
Okay.
Jacob lived in the land where his father had wandered as a foreigner, the land of Canaan. This is the history of Jacob. When Joseph was 17 years of age,
Yes.
they brought him down to Egypt.
So the passage is a verbatim reproduction of the Genesis passage in which the compiler of Genesis locates Jacob at the site where his ancestors lived as aliens. He, with the Genesis, calls it Canaan, and supplies the structural Toledot statement for Jacob in order to introduce the story of his family. Once the writer of Genesis has recorded Joseph's age of 17 years, he supplies stories to illustrate his penchant for annoying his older brothers and relates his disastrous trip to visit them. Yeah, you could say it was disastrous. The author of Jubilees, since he had already told the story about their horrible violation of brotherly love, redeployed the material in Genesis 37, 1 through 2a, as an introduction to the narrative about Joseph in Egypt.
Pharaoh's eunuch, Potiphar, the chief cook, bought Joseph, or Jacob.
Yeah.
Joseph, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, even though it's supposed
Joseph,
to be
yeah.
Jacob and Canaan, according to the title of this section. But whatever. He put Joseph in charge of his entire house. It's usually what you do when you buy a slave.
Wow, that was all right. Yeah, completely skipped over a lot of stuff there. So yeah, rather than completing the sentence about the 17-year-old Joseph, on which we just talked about, as Genesis 37 does, the writer employs it to form a segue to the next unit. So we have Joseph, or when Joseph was 17 years of age, they brought him down to Egypt. The second part of the sentence in Jubilees 39:2, they brought him down to Egypt, and the next clause resume what the author had said in 34:11. So 34:11, they brought him down to Egypt and sold him to Potiphar, Pharaoh's eunuch, the chief cook, and the priest of the city of Elu. And then Jubilees 39:2, which you just read out, Pharaoh's eunuch Potiphar, the chief cook, bought him. Both passages reflect Genesis 37, and skipping over chapter, it skips over chapter 38, but it also reflects 39:1. That is, both Genesis 39 and Jubilees 39 resume the Joseph story at the point where they had left it. But yeah, the fact that he's just put in charge, that's not really how that went down.
No,
exactly.
he had to do some stuff first in the Bible, but
Didn't he have to have like a dream?
He was
And a
interpreting
vision.
dreams.
interpreting dreams.
Yeah, and he started at like the bottom of the slave pole, and he worked his way up because he pressed a guard, right? I mean, there's a whole story about it. They
Yeah.
skip all of
Yeah.
it though, huh?
Yep, I guess.
Unless it pops up later.
Yeah. The Lord's blessing was present in the Egyptian's house because of Joseph. The Lord made everything that he did succeed for him. The Egyptian placed everything before Joseph because he noticed that the Lord was with him and that God made everything that he did succeed for him. In that last sentence, the word Joseph is replaced with him in 4Q 221:7-1, possibly because they didn't have enough space for Joseph.
Makes sense.
Now, Joseph was well-formed and very handsome. 4Q 221:7-2 doesn't have space for very. The wife of his master looked up to him. 4Q 221:7-3 very likely reads at him. Ethiopic lacks the prepositional phrase. Saw Joseph, loved him, and pleaded with him to sleep with her. But,
Wow.
yeah, because he's a eunuch, right? Potiphar. But he did not surrender himself. He remembered the Lord and what his father Jacob would read to him from the words of Abraham, that no one is to commit adultery with a woman who has a husband, that there is a death penalty that has been ordained for him in the heaven before the Most High God. The sin will be entered regarding him in the eternal books forever before the Lord. The eternal books now, not the heavenly tablets. Now we have the eternal books. That's verse 6.
Verse 6, okay.
The end of verse 6.
Okay. I'm looking over this to see if I can find something specific on. Oh yeah, here we go. The eternal books. So the sin will be entered regarding him in the eternal books. And I think that may be from the Ethiopic, because it says, or unless the Ethiopic is very close to the Hebrew or something, because it says Mashaheft Zala Alam, and the thing about the Ethiopic word for book it's Mashafa. So I don't know if that's just the same in or very similar in Hebrew. I don't know. So don't take my word for that. But either way, the sin will be entered regarding him in the eternal books forever before the Lord. The law itself is located between two outer statements that Joseph refused the woman's entreaties, and within two inner ones that Joseph remembered. In this way, the writer highlights it as the focus of the unit. It doesn't really say much more about the eternal books.
Strange.
I mean, if I see something else on it, I'll let you know.
All right. Joseph remembered what he had said and refused to sleep with her. She pleaded with him for 1 year and a second, but he refused to listen to her. She grasped him and held on to him in the house to compel him to sleep with her. There's difficulties with the reading here in Hebrew, Latin, and Ethiopic. She closed the door of the house and held on to him. Latin has doors. 4Q 221 711 reads gate/entrance rather than door. He left his clothes in her hands, broke the door, and ran away from her to the outside.
Just running in fear.
Yeah, Latin has opened the door.
But I guess if she's, just being very aggressive.
This is really extreme sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Man. When the woman saw that he would not sleep with her, she accused him falsely to his master. Latin has that he had defied her, not that he wouldn't sleep with her. Your Hebrew slave, whom you love, wanted to force me so that he could sleep with me. When I shouted, he ran outside, left his clothes in my hands when I grabbed him by his clothes, and broke the bolt. So Ethiopic lacks the reference to clothes. The translation bolt rests on a better reading of the partially preserved word in 4Q 223 through 224, 2 verse 5, then one rendered door in Jubilees.
So, do you remember when, we took note of the fact that he was put over this person's house?
Yeah.
And he was just called a slave.
Yeah.
So, though she had been so powerfully attracted to Joseph, he is now your slave. He is only the Hebrew servant in Genesis. And in contrast to her loving Joseph in verse 5, Joseph is now the slave whom you love. The verb in Hebrew Jubilees is preserved in 4Q 223.
It's like how if a child does something that their parents disapprove of, one of the parents might say, like, you'll never believe what your son did.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, and as the Ethiopic and Latin would lead one to expect, there's a different reading there. The verb has the same consonants as the one in Genesis 39:17 from you have brought, but in a different order.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just interesting how they went from slave, or how it went from head of the household to slave.
Yeah. When the Egyptian saw Joseph's clothes and the broken door, he believed what his wife said. He put Joseph in prison in the place where prisoners of the kings were held.
So the Potiphar of Genesis simply accepts what his wife tells him and does not investigate the matter further. But this time he, actually looks into it, I guess.
So now he's going to prison. While he was there in prison, the Lord gave Joseph a favorable reception before the chief of the prison guards, and a kind reception before him, because he saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord was making everything that he did succeed for him. He left everything to him. The chief of the prison guards knew nothing at all about his affairs, because Joseph would do everything, and the Lord would bring it to completion. He remained there for 2 years. At that time, Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, became angry at 2 of his eunuchs, the chief butler and the chief baker. He put them in prison in the house of the chief cook, in the prison where Joseph was held. The chief of the prison guards appointed Joseph to serve them, so he would serve them in their presence. Both of them, the chief butler and the chief baker, had a dream and told it to Joseph. Things turned out for them just as he interpreted for them. Pharaoh restored the chief butler to his cupbearing. Ethiopic reads his work or job, and Latin has his place instead of cupbearing. But he hanged the baker as Joseph had interpreted for him. The chief butler forgot Joseph in prison, although he had informed him about what would happen to him. He did not remember to tell Pharaoh what Joseph had told him because he forgot. And that's the end of the chapter.
Absolutely incredible because he forgot.
Whoops.
So in spite of Joseph's success as a dream interpreter, his plea to the butler proved ineffective. As he summarized the dreams section of Genesis 40, the author of Jubilees included nothing about Joseph's conversation with this official. Yet after explaining the dream to him, Joseph had said, "But remember me when it is well with you. Please do me the kindness to make mention of me to Pharaoh, and so get me out of this place, for in fact, I was stolen out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also I have done nothing that they should have put me into the dungeon." That's from Genesis, obviously.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of detail that was left out.
yeah, like the whole slave thing.
And the dreams interpretations, really.
Yeah, I suppose. In Jubilees,
that was a much bigger deal in Genesis.
Oh, yeah, it was huge. In Jubilees, it is perhaps assumed that the reader knows this, though the writer did not record it in his more positive picture of Joseph's experience in Egypt. So, of course, there was that. It added a whole lot of stuff because Genesis 40:23 just has, "Yet the chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph, but forgot him." So that, it adds way more. He didn't have to. Yeah, he added a whole bunch of stuff on this one. So in this case, the writer sensed a need to fill out the sparse text of Genesis, perhaps to explain that the cupbearer was not guilty of simply forgetting about Joseph. Rather, he was guilty of not remembering his debt to Joseph and the specific request he had made of him. Joseph had predicted that the monarch would restore the butler to his former post, a job that would bring him into direct contact with Pharaoh, who would be in a position to release Joseph from imprisonment. So yeah, like, see how much he fucked him up, how much he fucked him over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, rather short episode today, but
almost exactly an hour.
Yeah. If you enjoyed the show today, because that's everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can give us a like, comment, subscribe. Check out our Patreon.
Yeah, and once we hit $200 a month on Patreon, we will be starting production of our God sitcom, our holy sitcom,
The High Place.
The High Place.
Yep.
And I think it's going to be really good. And we also, if you don't feel like doing the whole monthly payment thing, we also have a bunch of merchandise on our Teespring.
Yeah, wacky and fun
in
stuff.
fact, one of our more recent shirts is pinned to the top.
Unpin it, yeah.
No. You don't have to unpin. It's already pinned.
Unpin it, yeah.
Okay.
Pin it on
It's right there. If you guys are interested in that, I think it's a pretty good shirt.
Yeah, and if you want to help us out in a different way, we have an Amazon wish list.
We do.
Full of books.
Link is in the description below. And yeah, someone, I don't know who it was, but someone purchased the second commentary on Jeremiah that we needed. So for whoever that was, thank you so much. You are awesome. We love you so much. You are amazing. Yeah. Chris is going to go to your place and make your bed and do all your chores. That's how much.
I hope you don't remember what I look like, because somebody could just do that. It doesn't have to be.
That's
me.
how thankful Chris is.
We're not.
Why are you putting
Chris
the nihilist guy in here?
Who said sending? He's going of his own accord.
Oh yeah. It might take a while.
Yeah. He'll get there.
But we definitely appreciate
within
the
my lifetime. Not yours.
Let's see what else we got going on.
We got Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah,
That's free.
Absolutely free to follow us there.
You get to see all of Lawrence's rants about WWE.
Yeah.
All
Yeah, you do.
zero.
No, I
Two.
post about
All
wrestling stuff.
He does using the Milwaukee Atheist Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Yep. So, without further ado,
We will
see you on Sunday.